Have you ever felt fear holding you back, whispering that you are not ready, not strong enough, or that the risks are too great? Abraham Lincoln once said, "Courage is not the absence of fear. It is acting despite the fear." Think about that. Courage does not mean you never feel afraid. It means you move forward even when fear is present, even when doubt threatens to paralyze you. Today, I want to invite you to examine the areas of your life where fear has slowed you down, moments you hesitated, opportunities you postponed, or decisions you avoided. By staying with me until the end, you'll discover practical ways to face fear, make bold choices, and strengthen your mindset, transforming anxiety into action. Before we dive deeper, I encourage you to subscribe to this channel. Every insight we share is designed to help you navigate life's challenges with clarity and confidence, and subscribing ensures that these lessons are always at your side, guiding you toward courage and growth. Remember this as we begin. The true measure of strength is not the absence of fear, but the resolve to act in spite of it. Let me speak to you directly. Fear is not an enemy. It is a signal, a guide, a reminder that something matters to you, that your life is being stretched beyond the familiar. Too often we interpret fear as a sign to retreat, to avoid risk, or to remain in the comfort of routine. But courage does not ask you to be fearless. Courage asks you to acknowledge fear, to feel it fully, and then to act anyway. Imagine the moments in your own life where fear whispered, urging you to stay small or avoid responsibility. Perhaps it was speaking up in a meeting, pursuing a new opportunity, confronting a difficult conversation, or following a dream that seemed unreachable. Each of these moments is a crossroads. You can surrender to fear, or you can take deliberate action despite it. In my own journey, I have faced countless fears. The weight of responsibility, public scrutiny, personal loss, and the uncertainty of outcomes would have been enough to make anyone step back. Yet I learned that the measure of a person is not the absence of fear, but the persistence to act, even when the heart trembles. I ask you now to reflect on your own hesitations. Where has fear kept you stagnant? What dreams or decisions lie dormant because the unknown seems too intimidating? Recognize that fear is natural, but inaction is optional. You have the power to act thoughtfully, to take small steps forward, and to gradually build the confidence that transforms hesitation into momentum. Courage also demands reflection. Before you act, you must understand the nature of your fear, what it protects, what it exaggerates, and what it conceals. Often, fear magnifies worst-case scenarios that never come to pass, keeping you trapped in illusions of limitation. Ask yourself, what is the truth behind my fear? How much of it is real and how much is a story I tell myself? By examining your fear with clarity, you disarm it, reduce its hold over your decisions, and allow your mind to focus on actionable solutions. Every time you pause to observe your fear instead of reacting automatically, you strengthen your ability to act courageously, even when uncertainty persists. Finally, understand that courage is cultivated, not inherited. It grows through repeated practice, deliberate choices, and moments of reflection. Each small act of bravery, speaking up, taking responsibility, embracing vulnerability, compounds into a life where fear no longer dictates your path. Imagine yourself approaching a challenge that once would have frozen you. With each step, your confidence grows. With each action, fear loses its grip. Your mind becomes a tool, your heart a guide, and your life a demonstration of resilience and intention. Remember this: courage is not a sudden gift. It is a habit, a discipline, and a choice you renew every day. Now let us focus on what it truly means to act despite fear. Many people believe that courage is a sudden surge of bravery, an emotional explosion that propels them forward. But real courage is quieter, more deliberate. It begins with awareness, noticing fear without judgment, understanding its presence, and deciding intentionally to move forward anyway. I ask you to think of your life today. Where have you hesitated? Perhaps it is a career decision you fear to make, a conversation you postpone, or a personal goal that seems distant and intimidating. Each moment you pause and confront that fear consciously, you exercise self-control, the ability to respond rather than react, to act with reason rather than impulse. This self-control is the foundation of leadership over yourself, and it strengthens your capacity to lead others when the time comes. Consider the times you acted impulsively out of fear, frustration, or anxiety. How did those moments shape your outcomes? Perhaps they led to regret, miscommunication, or unnecessary stress. Now imagine a different approach, acknowledging fear, examining it, and then taking a measured step forward with purpose. This practice may feel uncomfortable at first because it challenges the instinct to retreat, but each time you do it, you expand your capacity for courage. You build mental resilience, reinforcing the truth that fear is not a stop sign, but a signal to act thoughtfully, to pause, reflect, and then proceed with confidence. Over time, these small choices accumulate, forming a pattern of action that defines your character more than any single heroic moment ever could. Leadership of your life, your decisions, and your environment emerges when you consistently act despite fear. In my own life, the pressures were immense. The stakes were high, the outcomes uncertain, and the criticisms relentless. Yet the decisions that mattered most were not the ones I made without fear, but the ones I made with fear present, guiding me to act with diligence, reflection, and integrity. I invite you to consider your own leadership over your life. How often do you allow fear to dictate your choices? What would change if you approached each challenge with deliberate action rather than hesitation, with clarity rather than uncertainty, and with courage rather than avoidance? Acting despite fear is not reckless. It is rooted in reflection, preparation, and the understanding that mistakes are not failures, but lessons. Every time you step forward in spite of uncertainty, you gather information, experience, and insight that refine your judgment for the next decision. Your mind becomes sharper, your instincts more reliable, and your confidence more grounded. Each courageous act, no matter how small, compounds into a life defined by action, not limitation, by resilience, not avoidance, and by self-mastery, not surrender. I urge you to embrace these moments, to see fear not as a barrier, but as a compass pointing to the areas of your life where courage is needed most. Finally, remember this: the presence of fear is inevitable, but its power over you is optional. By practicing deliberate action, reflection, and self-control, you transform fear from a paralyzing force into a teacher, a guide, and a motivator. Reflect now on one area in your life where you can act today despite fear. Imagine taking that step, no matter how small, and feel the surge of empowerment that follows. Courage, like any skill, strengthens with practice, and every step you take in its direction builds the life you are capable of creating. You are stronger than you realize, and the path forward is always open when you choose to act despite fear. Now let us speak of resilience, the quiet strength that allows you to endure hardships, recover from setbacks, and continue moving forward when life seems overwhelming. Fear and difficulty often appear together, whispering that retreat is safer, that the risks are too great, or that you are not equipped to handle what lies ahead. I want you to see these moments clearly. Every challenge is a crossroads, a test of your courage and of your ability to act despite fear. I have faced obstacles that seemed insurmountable: political turmoil, public criticism, personal grief. But it was not the absence of fear that carried me forward. It was the deliberate decision to act, to learn, and to persevere. Reflect for a moment on your own obstacles. How many of them have felt like insurmountable walls, only because fear magnified their presence and limited your perspective? Resilience is cultivated through repeated practice. It grows when you confront discomfort, embrace the unknown, and transform moments of hesitation into deliberate action. Each time you face fear, make a decision, and take a step forward, you expand your capacity to endure greater challenges. Think of a situation in your life that has tested you recently. Perhaps it is a strained relationship, a professional setback, or an internal struggle. What if, instead of retreating, you allowed yourself to act thoughtfully, embracing the fear as a signal rather than a stop sign? By reframing obstacles in this way, you reclaim your agency, regain clarity, and discover hidden reserves of strength you may not have realized existed. Resilience is not merely surviving hardship. It is using it as fuel to grow, to become wiser, and to navigate future challenges with greater skill and confidence. Consider the moments when fear has caused you to procrastinate or avoid necessary action. Often it convinces you that waiting will make the problem smaller or easier to handle. But in truth, avoidance magnifies fear, reinforces self-doubt, and strengthens the very barriers you hope will disappear. Courage, reflection, and deliberate action break this cycle. By taking measured steps in the face of fear, you begin to dismantle the mental obstacles that limit your life. Each courageous act creates momentum. Each choice to confront rather than flee strengthens your inner foundation, and each small victory over fear compounds into enduring resilience. Ask yourself, where in your life can you act today to turn fear into opportunity, to convert hesitation into growth? Resilience also requires perspective. Challenges often carry hidden lessons, opportunities for insight, and pathways to personal transformation that are invisible when viewed through the lens of fear. I encourage you to reflect on past difficulties. How did they shape you, teach you, or reveal your capacity to persevere? By recognizing the growth embedded in adversity, you transform fear from a paralyzing force into a teacher and guide. Life does not guarantee ease, but it does offer the potential for growth, strength, and wisdom when you act despite fear, maintain clarity of thought, and embrace challenges with courage. Finally, let this principle guide you daily. Every obstacle is a chance to expand your capacity for courage. Every moment of fear is an opportunity to strengthen resilience, and every deliberate action builds a life defined by agency, insight, and purpose. Reflect on one challenge that has been looming over you. What small step could you take today to act despite fear, to transform hesitation into deliberate movement? Remember, courage is not the absence of fear. It is the consistent choice to move forward, to confront discomfort, and to embrace the lessons embedded in every difficulty. In doing so, you do not merely survive. You grow, you learn, and you demonstrate the extraordinary power of an open and determined mind. Now let us explore how courage becomes a living practice, woven into every day, every choice, and every interaction. Courage is not reserved for monumental moments. It thrives in the small, seemingly ordinary decisions that define your life over time. Each day presents opportunities to act despite fear. Speaking up in a meeting, addressing a difficult conversation with a loved one, pursuing a personal goal that feels intimidating, or making a decision that challenges your comfort zone. I ask you to reflect on your own routine. Where are the moments you allow fear to dictate your choices? Where do you hesitate, postpone, or avoid action, thinking that the stakes are too high or the outcomes too uncertain? Every hesitation is a chance lost. Every decision deferred is an opportunity deferred. By consciously acting despite fear, you cultivate not only courage but also clarity, confidence, and momentum in all aspects of your life. Consider too how courage shapes your decisions beyond immediate action. Acting despite fear requires reflection, discernment, and the discipline to weigh risks without succumbing to paralysis. In my own life, every decision carried consequences, and many were fraught with uncertainty. The difference between stagnation and progress was not a lack of fear, but the willingness to examine possibilities, assess challenges, and then act intentionally. You too can apply this principle. Before making a decision, observe your fear, analyze the situation, and take the step that aligns with your values and your goals. Courage without thought is recklessness, but courage guided by reflection becomes mastery, leadership, and personal empowerment. Daily practice is the key to sustaining courage. Each small step you take against fear builds a foundation for larger acts of bravery. Perhaps it is initiating a conversation you've been avoiding, applying for an opportunity that feels beyond your reach, or confronting a personal habit that limits your growth. These incremental actions, though modest in appearance, reinforce your capacity to act decisively, transform fear into insight, and strengthen your resilience. Think about the areas of your life where fear has slowed progress. What is one small intentional step you can take today to act despite it? The compound effect of these small choices is remarkable. They accumulate into a life defined by agency, clarity, and purposeful action rather than hesitation or self-doubt. Courage also cultivates influence and trust. People are drawn to those who act decisively, thoughtfully, and consistently in spite of fear. By demonstrating your willingness to face discomfort and act intentionally, you inspire confidence, not only in yourself, but also in those around you. Relationships, career opportunities, and collaborative endeavors flourish in environments where courage is present, where fear is acknowledged but does not dominate the outcome. Reflect now. How might your actions today, guided by courage, strengthen your influence, deepen your relationships, or open doors that fear has kept closed? Each choice becomes both a personal triumph and a signal to the world of the strength and integrity you embody. Finally, understand that integrating courage into daily life is a lifelong commitment. Fear will arise in countless forms and contexts, but every moment you choose to act, to speak, or to step forward despite it, you reinforce the habit of bravery, self-control, and deliberate action. Life rewards those who consistently practice courage, not as a fleeting emotion, but as a cultivated mindset that informs thought, decision, and behavior. I invite you to reflect now on the cumulative effect of these daily acts. Each one is a building block, each decision a thread weaving a life defined by strength, resilience, and purpose. Courage is not the absence of fear, it is the mastery of fear, the conscious decision to act, and the unwavering commitment to living fully, intentionally, and without regret. Now let us explore a truth that many struggle to accept. Life is inherently uncertain, and fear often emerges precisely because of that uncertainty. We crave control, predictability, and assurance that our actions will yield safe, positive outcomes. Yet courage is not about eliminating uncertainty. It is about acting deliberately in its presence. I want you to reflect on your own life. How many decisions have you delayed or avoided because you feared the unknown? Perhaps it is pursuing a new career path, initiating a difficult conversation, or taking a personal risk that could change your life. Each hesitation may feel protective in the moment, but in truth it keeps you confined within the limits of what is already familiar. Real growth, real progress, and true personal transformation occur when you step forward despite uncertainty, when you act courageously, even without a guarantee of success. Persistence is born from this practice. The courage to continue despite fear, to act thoughtfully in moments of uncertainty, and to embrace each setback as a lesson is what allows you to move steadily toward your goals. In my own life, the path was never clear or smooth. Political battles, personal loss, and immense responsibility created constant tension and doubt. Yet it was the willingness to act, to take one step after another despite fear, that enabled me to navigate those challenges. I ask you to consider, where in your life can persistence transform hesitation into action? What small courageous step can you take today, knowing that the first action is never the full journey, but the foundation for the next one? Wisdom also grows from embracing uncertainty. Each moment when fear arises becomes an opportunity to observe your thoughts, assess your emotions, and refine your decision-making process. Instead of viewing fear as an obstacle, see it as a teacher, revealing what matters most to you, highlighting where your values intersect with your actions, and providing insight into the areas of your life where growth is needed. The key is not to eliminate fear, but to understand it, to allow it to coexist with deliberate action, and to learn from it. By doing this repeatedly, you cultivate judgment, foresight, and emotional resilience, the hallmarks of both personal leadership and a life well lived. Every challenge you face, every decision made under the shadow of fear, and every moment of uncertainty provides the raw material for growth. Imagine yourself confronting a difficult choice today. By acting despite the fear, you gain not only experience, but also confidence. Each courageous action reinforces the pattern of resilience, turning fear into an ally rather than an adversary. Over time, you will notice that decisions that once paralyzed you now feel manageable, opportunities that once seemed unreachable become attainable, and challenges that once intimidated you are transformed into platforms for skill, insight, and personal evolution. Finally, remember that courage and persistence are habits cultivated over a lifetime. They are not fleeting sparks of emotion, but conscious practices that shape the trajectory of your life. Each time you choose to act despite fear, to persist through uncertainty, and to embrace the lessons embedded in challenges, you build a mindset of strength, clarity, and deliberate purpose. Reflect now on the areas of your life where fear has been a barrier. What would happen if you acted, persisted, and trusted your judgment, despite uncertainty? The moment you do, you step into a life defined not by limitation, hesitation, or avoidance, but by courage, resilience, and the wisdom that only comes from facing fear head-on and acting anyway. As we reach the close of this reflection, I want you to hold one truth close. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is acting despite fear. Life will continue to challenge you, test your resolve, and place you in situations where uncertainty looms large. There will be moments when hesitation tempts you, when doubt whispers that retreat is safer, and when fear convinces you that the risk is too great. In those moments, remember that your strength is not measured by the absence of fear, but by the willingness to move forward in spite of it. Every step you take, no matter how small, is an act of courage, a testament to your resilience, and a deliberate choice to shape your life rather than be shaped by circumstance. I urge you to integrate this principle into your daily life. Observe your fear, acknowledge it, and then choose to act deliberately. Each small decision, speaking up, initiating change, pursuing a goal, strengthens your ability to face greater challenges. By practicing courage consistently, you cultivate self-control, mental clarity, and personal leadership. Consider the obstacles you face today. What one courageous action can you take to transform fear into growth? What step, no matter how minor, can propel you forward and demonstrate your commitment to living intentionally rather than reactively? Courage is not a single act. It is a pattern, a habit, and a mindset that shapes every choice you make. Sharing your reflections, experiences, and moments of courage also deepens their impact. I invite you to comment below with an insight, a thought, or a challenge you are facing. Engaging in this way not only reinforces your own understanding, but also contributes to a community of individuals committed to acting courageously, growing resiliently, and embracing life fully. Your voice matters, and by expressing it, you extend the lessons of courage and deliberate action to others who may also be navigating fear, doubt, or uncertainty. Finally, I encourage you to subscribe and like this channel, not as a routine gesture, but as a conscious choice to invest in your growth. Each video here serves as a companion on your journey, offering guidance, reflection, and insight to help you act with courage, develop self-mastery, and navigate life with resilience. By subscribing, you ensure that these lessons are always available, reminding you daily that fear is natural, but inaction is optional. Let each moment of fear become an opportunity for growth, each challenge a chance to act boldly, and each decision a testament to your strength and determination. Remember this: courage is cultivated, refined, and strengthened through deliberate action. The presence of fear does not diminish your potential. It signals that what lies ahead is meaningful. By acting despite fear, by persisting through uncertainty, and by embracing every challenge as a chance to grow, you craft a life of purpose, clarity, and extraordinary strength. Open your mind, trust your judgment, and step forward with confidence. The path is yours to navigate, and every courageous act carries you closer to the life you are capable of living.